Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Elite Career Mentor over Elite. Sorry, Career Coaching over Coffee. That is the one we're doing this morning. If you are here and you are watching us, let me know. I can see Roseanne. Welcome, Roseanne, and Mike. Mike is new here. Hi, Mike. Good to have you here. I will be sending your things through shortly. So welcome everyone. It is the Monday morning. It's about 8 o'clock in New Zealand. So this is what we do once a month. We do career coaching over coffee. And we also do a live session once a month. So there's 2 live sessions every month for those guys who are new here. So there's not many people who usually come on live. So I encourage you to let me know any questions. If you have any questions, you're welcome to stop me and just, let me know your questions. The thing I want to talk about today is something that is probably not related to career coaching alone, but it is nevertheless very important. It is the things that make us successful. That is basically it. And if you are a high performance person in this group or anywhere, you will know what I'm talking about here. I am going to try and refrain from going all woo-foo and, a new age kind of thing here, but this is not the idea. The idea here is to help you understand sometimes what is holding you back. I work with so many people that want to do so many big things, and that is fantastic. But sometimes I can see past the things that are holding them back, and it's just you can't see it for yourself because there's no clarity of distance. But we've got to be able to identify really what's going on so that we can fix it. That's basically what this is all about. So stop me if you have any questions about anything else. You're welcome to ask about anything else, and I'll be happy to answer those questions. But what I want to talk about for the next couple of minutes, 20 minutes, 40 minutes or so, is about your mindset. That's basically it. And then from the next ones, we'll go into the nitty-gritty detail of the practical things of landing your overseas job. Now, this is what I call the invisible block that's keeping you away from landing your dream job. Now, it's about, landing your dream job for you guys who want to immigrate or want to land a job in another country or want to just, look for your next role. There's a variety of a lot of people here who just want to land their next level role. However, I can teach you 1,000 practical things to get that done. I can teach you the LinkedIns and I can teach you the CV things or the resume things. I can teach you the strategies. I can teach you the how-tos. Anybody can do that. You can look it up on Google. You can ask ChatGPT how to do things. The practical things are the 3% that make up the things that you actually need to do, the things that you need to get on, the things that you need to take massive action on. Yes, it is true, but that's a very small part of the success. The success here is actually what goes on in your mind and how you think about what you are doing. So I'm sharing my screen here because I'm going to share this document with you later on in the group. And there are some links in here if you want to go further with this. But the way you think about what you're doing is what it is. It's not the thing is not the thing. It's how you think about the thing that makes a difference. Now, this doesn't just go for finding a job or landing a career progression or a promotion. This is about starting a new business. This is about starting a new relationship. This is about anything where you want to go forward, expand, progress. That kind of thing always has to do with what's going on in your mind and how you are thinking about it. Most times I see people think about the thing. Let's call it career coaching or career progression in this instance, in this topic, in this niche, in a wrong way. So I'm not going to label it as negative, but it is the wrong thinking. The thinking of it is hard, it is too hard, it is difficult, or even maybe it is impossible. And then it will never happen, no matter how much you do in the practical side of things. So what happens here is about resistance, right? The only thing that is not getting to you to where you want to go is you create resistance. And I'm saying you because you are creating resistance. It's not anyone else doing it out there. There are things in the world that happens that are quite completely out of your control. but they are not your problem. You are creating resistance for those things. I am a spiritual person. I have absolutely no, I don't mind saying that. I'm not religious, but I'm a spiritual person. And I do believe that the moment that we are given a thought or an idea or a desire, it's done. It is created for us. However, we create resistance in getting there and obtaining it and making it real and bringing it into our reality by the way that we think about those things that we want to achieve, but also the way of getting there. And no, unhappy journey can end in a happy destination. It's just not possible. So those of you who have delved into this or have a little bit of psychology background or, even just life experience and maturity will know that we have two minds, basically, the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. And the subconscious mind rules the roost. It will make you do things. The conscious mind is when you're awake, when you listen to this, when you read your books, when you watch TV, and holy heck, there's a lot going on at the moment. Those things filter into your subconscious mind, but your conscious mind perceives things with a certain filter. Okay, so the conscious mind, I'm not going to go into the detail of this, but the conscious mind is like the glasses you have on, the color of the glasses you have on. If you look through the red glasses, you'll see red. And if you look through the blue glasses, you'll see blue. But it tells the subconscious mind what is going in and what is staying out. So those things that it filters in, based on your blueprint, or what you're looking for, those are the things that you believe. Think about this. Basically, how you think is a result of how you grew up. Because up until the age of about 7 or 10, you were just a sponge absorbing what was going on around you in the world. And that determined how you think in a big way. And you wouldn't realize that until either someone tells you it or you get out of that and you realize, holy heck, I have been thinking that way and the world is completely different. There are different ways in which you can actually realize that you only see and think the things that you've been taught to see and think. And it's not your fault. It's no one's fault. It's just the way it is. You become a product of your environment. So that subconscious mind becomes your belief blueprint. Now, that makes you do what you believe. And this is important. It comes from, like I say, your upbringing, the way that where you spent your childhood. Is what the Jesuits say, give me the child up until the age of 7 and I'll show you the man. It is absolutely true. A child up to the age of 7, their subconscious is wide open. They are like a sponge. They absorb everything, and that becomes their blueprint. And therefore, they become who they were when they were small. We all do that. Now, when you go with that blueprint into the world, you actually go and do things, excuse me, from the basis of that blueprint. And I'm going through these things really quickly here. But the way that you think about things, the way that you perceive things, the way that you do things as a result thereof is all about that blueprint. And that blueprint, there's a really good book about it. U.L.S. Anderson talk about the prompters. The prompters are like locks or blocks on your subconscious mind. We call it limiting beliefs in modern language. They determine how you think about things. And I'm not shy to say that's how I grew up. I grew up thinking that everything was hard. Everything was difficult, right? Everyone is your enemy. Making money was difficult. Getting a new job was difficult. Because we grew up in that environment where if you didn't have a job, then getting a new job was really, really difficult. And we were in constant competition with everyone, and we had to fight for survival. And that kind of blueprint is where I grew up. I don't know about you guys, but that is passed down from our ancestors, and it became limiting beliefs. Now, in the context of landing your overseas job, I thought about it this way. I thought it was too difficult, and most people think it too. It's too hard, to find an overseas job. It's too hard to immigrate. It is hard to immigrate. It is hard to find a job in another country. It is hard. Everything's hard. It's hard to make money. It is hard. Everything is hard. Everything became difficult. You've got to struggle and strive for it. You've got to fight for it. And pure muscle is only 3% of the whole thing. It wasn't until I was deep in my 40s, and I've just aged myself, I'm almost 60, that I realized, no, it is my mind that determines the success or the failure of things. So I'm talking about myself here because I cannot judge other people, but I think it is the thing for most people. So if you believe something about something because of your limiting beliefs, then most people think the same way. You're constantly looking for the evidence of what you already believe. And the evidence of what you already believe is right in front of you if you look for it. Seek and you shall find, okay? Because the filters make you look for that evidence. Let me give you an example. About a year ago, I wanted to buy a new car. And after a couple of, models that I went through, I decided on a Toyota RAV4. Now, when I started to look for a Toyota RAV4, I saw Toyota RAV4s everywhere. They've always been there, but now we see them everywhere. And you know what that kind of thing is like. So that's activating that RIS system in your brain, which is your physical brain, to look for something specific. If you did not activate that, your brain would have filtered out that thing until you decided to look for it. So you literally went against the subconscious who filters out things and said, go look for this thing again and again and again and again. So looking for a Toyota RAV4 is nothing different than looking for the evidence that things are actually easy instead of hard. It takes a while, takes time. That comes down to changing your limiting beliefs. In the context of this, people think about immigrating and landing a dream job. Most people fail to land an overseas job. That's what they think. No one ever makes it. Immigration is too expensive. It's almost impossible. I'm not good enough. People don't want immigrants. They don't want to work with immigrants. Nobody wants to give someone else a chance. You blame something else because you're looking for the evidence of what you actually already believe. Write that down. You are looking for the evidence only because you are actually believing it. It is your truth, but it's not the truth. It may not be the truth. So I can teach you 1,000 things of how to overcome that, but if you keep believing it, you will attract it. It will be your reality because you keep believing it. So how do we change all of this? Now, going further into, despite the fact that the opposite exists. So what if you look for something different and start looking for the evidence of it? And like I said, your mind filters out around 88% to 90% of things that you experience in your reality because you only look for the things that you subconsciously believe. And that is about 12%. So what if that 80% are the other things? That is where your answer is. So what if it's not difficult? What if it's not impossible? Have you ever asked yourself that question? I have realized that in my deep 40s, and it completely changed my life. Completely changed my life. I'm not going to go into detail here, but you won't believe me when I tell you these stories. So what you're creating here with believing your subconscious limiting beliefs is resistance. You're resisting opening up the possibilities by believing what your subconsciously tell you. You're mostly not aware of these things. So the belief is a thing you must change. And the limited beliefs about your dream job, your business, you want to start your relationships, whatever it is, that is the thing you need to change. Not the actual practical things. Those come from inspired action, but how you think about your new job, your immigration, your new life, your new business, your new relationship, whatever you want to achieve, weight loss, whatever it is, that is what you want to achieve. How you think about that thing is what you need to change. So how do we do this? This was the most challenging thing I've ever done in my life. I've done many, many challenging things in my life, right? I'm not going to go into detail. Those of you who know me know that, gee, we've been through things. But I had a coach or coaches who I've always had coaches. Once I realized that I couldn't do this by myself, I've looked for people to help me do it. Why would you not? Why would people pay thousands of dollars to get a different body and not pay thousands of dollars or pay something to have someone change their mind, which can actually change their life? Just didn't make any sense to me. So instead of paying for the gym, I went to someone to help me change my mindset. And I'm still doing it. I've never stopped doing it. And what these things on the screen here is not something you've got to do. Those are the things that's mine. That is how I changed what I believed about things. Some of them has to do with immigration. And up until about a year ago, for those last 2 years, 2021, 2020, 2022, 2023, I was in a state where someone actually told me things that I started to believe, and everything went downhill because I took on someone else's belief. And I didn't realize it until the end of 2023. And it literally affected my business. It affected my life in a big, big way until I realized what I was doing. I don't blame anyone else. I was doing it. And I had to physically change these, or consciously change these beliefs. So I believed, in 2023, we had recession and everything in New Zealand and everywhere in the world. And I started to believe what someone else was telling me, the market has changed. There's less opportunity. Now, you might think the same thing. I've heard this from other people. Every time I looked online, every time I spoke to recruiters, every time I did something, I believed that, or someone was telling me that the market has changed. There's a recession. There's less opportunity. And I started believing it. I took on someone else's belief. I started believing that people didn't want job search assistance anymore. I started believing that it was too hard to find a job as an immigrant. Now tell me if you believe this as well. Tell me if you were thinking these things last year and the year before maybe. Tell me this, because I can't believe that nobody else was doing this, because it was everywhere in the world. We were bombarded with this, and you start taking on those beliefs, right? I started believing that nobody wanted my help. I started believing that people couldn't afford my help. I started believing that the market was too small. Someone just started telling me that it's too small. There is not enough demand for your services. Right? I started believing that there's too many layoffs in this country and every other country, that they wouldn't be taking on immigrants, and that the economy is a slowdown. All these things. I started believing it. Now tell me if you did too. It would be interesting to know. I know it's true. So by the end of 2023, when I realized I was doing this, actually, I realized that because things were changing in my business, things were changing in our lives, and I had this feeling that things weren't right. And I went inside to look at my beliefs about things, because you cannot change your circumstances until you change. So I started looking internal. Roseanne says, I agree, people always tend to look at the negative. Why? Because we get bombarded with the negative. It gets put in our face every single day on the TV. They don't make money unless they tell you the negative. So yes, you will believe the negative. So I sat down, I shut myself off from everything. I started looking for a coach to help me change it. I found someone, and that coach told me to go and decide to change my beliefs. Now, this is an important thing here. Decide to change your beliefs. It doesn't happen instantly. You've got to make a decision here. If I want to walk from the lounge to the kitchen, I've got to make a subconscious decision in my mind to get up from my chair and walk over there. It doesn't happen by itself. So you've got to make a decision here to do this. So that's what I did. I got up and I literally took a piece of paper and I sat down and I wrote my limiting beliefs. These on the screen here, some of them. There's a long list of these things, right? Huge long list of them. I'm really ashamed to put them out there. But anyway, and I wrote down the opposite because I wanted to believe the opposite. So these are some of the things I wrote down. There are always opportunities, despite the fact that the market has changed. People always will need my assistance. It is easy. Thousands of people get hired every year, the same way that thousands of people get laid off. Um, I started to believe that I wasn't good enough. Actually, someone told me that I wasn't good enough, and I started taking on the belief. And then I had to write down, I am enough. I am skilled enough. I am valuable enough. I'm worthy. All those different things. There are millions of people who still need to find their next thing, whether it's a job, whether it's starting a business, whether it is immigrating, whatever it is, and I have the skills to help them. I had to start changing those beliefs. And these are the things I went through and wrote down the exact opposite statement. Now, I've got to warn you here. I won't go into the detail of this, but your subconscious mind is there to keep you safe. It is the thing that tells you, oh, don't go there. That's dangerous. That's going to be outside your comfort zone. It's your 2 million year old brain who is trying to keep you safe. So the moment you tell it these other things and you start a little bit believing it, the red flags goes up and it's like, oh, bullshit. Don't believe that. It is not true. All the evidence out there says otherwise. Your 12% out there says it's not true. You've got to sort of force this in a certain way. Now, this is why it's hard. It's because your subconscious mind is your blueprint. It is neural pathways put down in physical thing in your brain. It's not your mind, it's on your brain, your physical brain. So you can learn about this a little bit later. So it takes a while to even though you're going to try to do this, it takes a while for you to actually get this done, the decision done and writing it down. It takes a while you've got to force yourself a little bit. Mornay says, I have daily affirmations making it clear that my subconscious mind, I'm claiming this move. See, this is what I mean. That's exactly what I mean. We'll get to this. So if you start deciding, you make the decision, that's the first step. Next, you're going to look for the evidence. Because the same way that you had the evidence of the old things, you've got to go and look for the evidence of the new things. So how do you do this, right? How do you go and look for the evidence? How do you force yourself to do this? Roseanne says, go more name. The way that you look for the evidence is, number one, shutting yourself from the negative things. That's what Roseanne said. People tend to believe the negative things. Why? Because you get bombarded with it. The moment you go on social media, I have so many screenshots, right? Screenshots in Facebook where people ask the question, oh, I want to immigrate to X country. Tell me what the economy is like. I've had so many times in Facebook groups, people come into New Zealand Facebook groups and they ask that question, and guess what happens? They get told how bad it is. They get told that our unemployment rate has risen. By the way, it's 5.1% now. So what is it on your side? Evidence, right? So go look for the evidence, the opposite evidence. Those kind of things is where you take on a belief. Now, the worst kind of limiting belief you can ever have is taking on someone else's belief. That is the easiest thing to do as well, because you're going to look for the evidence of things you actually already believe. And that is just going to reinforce that evidence. And that is going to be even harder to reverse. So the moment you go out there in the world, you start watching television, you go on social media, you will start reversing your decision to change your limiting beliefs. That's what I'm saying. This is harder than it's going to seem. Okay, so you've got to be able to literally force this, and the only way you can do this is take yourself out of that environment. I did that for a couple of days over December 2023. I took myself out of the environment for 2 weeks, and I literally sat down and forced myself to write down what else I wanted to believe. Now, I'm going to say this, and I kid you not, within 6 weeks, my life changed. It changed in a huge, huge way. I'm not going to go into detail of that. If you want to know more about that, I can talk to you about it, and I don't mind doing it. But be aware that your limiting beliefs will be reinforced if you go taking on someone else's belief, because the majority of people believe their limiting beliefs. I want to give you an example. There was an expert done in New York. I think it was in the 80s. I can't remember the dates, but anyways, about some of these neuroscientists that I'm going to introduce you to, whose work goes into this and who were some of my coaches, have they set up a group of people who did meditation about positive beliefs every single day. And they told the New York mayor, in New Zealand we say mayor, the mayor, that the thought energy of these group meditations of groups of people can reduce the crime rate in a certain area. And he was like, yeah, woo-woo stuff. I don't believe that nonsense. So they set out to do this over a number of weeks. And they took, obviously they had the data of the crime rate. In the time that they've done these group meditations, the crime rate fell by 23%. And then they repeated these experiments again and again and again. So you tell me that your thoughts does not make any change in the world. It does. So if it makes any change in the world, imagine what it can do for you. And I'm not even talking about you changing the world. I'm just talking about you changing your life, your reality, your own experience. So when you start changing that limiting belief, your actions change as a natural result of it. In this context, if you're an immigrant or a prospective immigrant trying to land a job overseas or wherever, whatever you're doing, and you find that the practical things you're doing is really, really difficult, there are people here who have struggled to get through that first exercise that we do, the direct approach strategy or the virtual door knock. Mike, you're going to get to it if you're listening to this. It's hard, right? What held you back from that? So think about this for a minute. The actions of that is sitting down and uploading your details into a portal. Now, do you know how to use a computer? Do you know how to click? Do you know how to use a mouse? Do you know where to go and literally uploading the thing? Is that difficult? Is your arm restrained in some way? Do you not know how to use a computer? None of those things are difficult. What actually holding you back is your mind. That's it. If I want to lose 10 kilograms, there's a gym right down the road. There's a track that I can run around. There's a block that I can run around every single morning. Why do I not get off my chair and go run? That's not difficult. I'm not disabled. The thing that's holding me back is my mind. It's not the physical body. It's not the physical actions. It is the way we're thinking about doing the physical actions. So if the physical actions seems difficult for you, seems like a chore, seems like something that you just cannot get yourself to do, the real reason is not in the physical actions. It is in your state. And the state comes from your mindset, how you think about it. So in a primal state, negative things come. It feels difficult. It feels hard. I can't do that's too much. It's too hard. The only way you can change your state is to change your thinking, to decide to change your thinking. In a progressive state, it feels easy. It feels exciting. It feels, I've got to do more of this because it actually is worth it. So the actions that you've got to do, the 3% of practical things that is so hard for you to do or seem so hard, will instantly change when you change your mindset or your state. So in the end, your thoughts will lead to your feelings about how you think and feel about the things that you've got to do. And that will change your actions, and that will literally change your results. That's the short of it. That is the gist of it. So how do you do this? Now, there are different ways in which to change your subconscious mind. It is not easy. I know that is the hardest thing to do, is to change your thinking. It's not hard to do the actual actions, like I just said. And your subconscious mind has been laid down, put in place by years of limiting beliefs, by your blueprint, but what you've brought up to believe, by your environment. You can change it by changing your environment. That helps. but I found that going to a different environment was not really the change I was looking for. It changed a little, it made me aware, but it didn't really change my thinking. I literally had to do things to change my thinking. So the first thing you've got to know here is that your subconscious mind cannot distinguish between real and fake. So if you start telling it fake things, it will literally start believing it. So affirmations, yes. Monet said affirmations. It is one of those things that you can use. But just parroting or blindly saying things to yourself without feeling will not work. Why? Now here it becomes a little bit woo-foo. Because feeling is a chemical reaction in your body. I'm not going to go into detail this. Go and look at Dr. Joe Dispenza and Dr. Bruce Lipton's work, right? Feeling creates a chemical reaction in your body that creates a certain vibrational field, a frequency. You can feel feelings. Feelings is a feeling. Feeling is tangible. You can measure it. You can literally measure it. That's what Dr. Joe Dispenza does. He's a very world-famous neuroscientist. This is science, by the way. It's not woo-foo stuff. So feelings has a vibration, a frequency. Those frequencies attach to other frequencies because it has a magnetic field. The law of vibration, you can click through to that, is about connecting your feelings with other vibrations in your environment. So literally, you've got to change your feelings. So you can't just parrot affirmations and not feel it. If you start feeling the way you should be feeling, that is where the change happens, not just parroting affirmations. So just saying things won't change it. However, you will have to start by doing that if you want to use affirmations. That's why affirmations takes a while. I used affirmations, right? But I also tried to put myself into a state of feeling the way that I was saying the affirmation. And that changed things for me. And I still do it. There's also different states of your brain. In other words, different frequencies in your brain. Your brain waves, these different frequencies in your brain waves, like theta, alpha, delta, those kind of things. So the Joe Dispenza goes into that. If you, just before you fall asleep, that's your theta state. That's when your subconscious mind is wide open. Things can filter through. That is a good way or a good time to try and put things into your subconscious mind. Like I said, children's minds are wide open. They're a constant theta state. That's why they absorb things easier. And there's a new field of study, epigenetics. Dr. Bruce Lipton goes into that more detail. I'm not going to go there because it takes me a while to get my head around these things. But those are the things that can help you change your subconscious mind, which will change your life. Seriously, your thoughts will change your life. I think there's a book like that. I think I've read that book. I read a book a week. And for the last 2 years, I've delved deep into mindset. And I've done a lot of work in this to just change my own life. And it has just made enormous difference. And I've realized that I've actually done that in the previous years as well, but I just wasn't aware of how I did it. But I actually did this. So I will give you this document here. So you can click through to these links and you can read a bit more, or you can go and watch some of these videos, especially Dr. Bruce Lipton. Is incredible in communicating the way to use. It's not just about epigenetics for him, but it's the way in which to use your subconscious mind to change your life, or change your thinking to change your life. He's literally of the mindset that you are a creator of your reality and how to create that reality. So I wanted to close off here with saying that think differently. I want to go up here at the beginning. Think differently about how you do things, right? Think differently about how you think about your job, your immigration, whatever you're trying to achieve here. It's not the thing, it's about how you think about this thing that will change the outcome of it. It's not just the practical things. Good. I'm going to stop here because I can talk about this all day long. And some people just probably don't want to know. Now, Mike says Harvard Business Review has many articles sharing that recessions are fabulous opportunities for growth. Yes, many people believe it's a time to shut down. The best business use is recession to grow. Right on, Mike. I have been accused of having the glass completely full. I've been accused of being too positive. I don't mind. It's gotten me through life. It's gotten me here. Anytime is a good time for growth. Anytime is a good time to do anything that you want. Recessions is a result. Now, don't take this the wrong way, please. Recessions is the result of groupthink, right? I've studied economics. Why does a recession happen? It's thinking. Economics is actually influenced by how people think. What's different out there? The resources in the world is always the same. It doesn't escape planet Earth. It's always there. It's like water. The same water we have now, we've always had. It's not less or more. The same resources we've always had, we always have, we always will have. So why do we have recessions and boom times? It's the way we think about those things that creates recessions or bull markets. So recessions is groupthink. And the recession, in terms of the way we think about things, can actually lead us out of recession or into recession. Now, think about this. This is on the edge of it too, and you will see Dr. Joe Dispenza and Dr. Bruce Lipton start talking about this. What we're seeing on our TV screens and what we're absorbing and how it makes us think in the world will lead to the world becoming more like it. We contribute to groupthink because our thoughts have frequencies, and all those frequencies together creates the world we live in. So think about the opportunities out there. And if you want to change, like Mike says here, a recession is the best time to grow, it's because everyone else is thinking the opposite. So opportunities out there is more available for you if you think differently. You are not separate from the world. We are all one thing. We are all one thinking. We're all one consciousness. I believe everything here is one consciousness. And the way that we are thinking about it, we're contributing to it. So think about which consciousness you want to subscribe to. More questions? Anyone else about anything else? Literally, you can ask me about anything. I mean, it doesn't just have to be about mindset here. What I want to know here is, do you want to know more about this? Or do you want to know more about the practical things? Or is there anything specific about this or specific about CVs, LinkedIn, the strategies? What is there that you crave for, that you want to learn more about? I don't just want to make things that are, because I think it's fine and cool to do presentations, whatever. I can make 1,000 presentations, but it's not about me. It's about what you want to know, not about what you want to learn, but what you want to know about. That's what I want you. Mike says, I love and prefer this content. Mindset is everything. Yes, Mike, I have spoken to you, and people like you lift me up too, because you make me think about how incredible people out there are. I'm working with the best of the best in the world. How awesome is this work? How awesome is this life? I cannot say how grateful I am every single day to be able to do this work. You cannot believe, you have no idea how appreciative I am of being blessed to do this work. I would sit here hours on end just doing this. I have to tear myself away. I've been here this morning. This is the 4th hour. I have to tear myself away to just go for a walk and a swim, because I can sit here for 12 hours just doing this until I fall off the chair. But I'm so grateful. So yes, I can do more of this if you prefer me to do more of this. Okay. So yeah, I'll delve into this. Let's make this every second month or so. I'll delve into the mindset things. If you see anything in here, or if you, I'm going to give you this document and you can go and click on Dr. Bruce Lipton, Dr. Joe Dispenza, or if you see anything there that you want to know more about, tell me and I'll do it. I read a lot of these books all the time. Do you want me to share those books with you? Are you interested in it? Would you like me to share which books I read, which books I have read, which books made a difference for me? I can probably, recount the ones that's made a difference in my life, dozen books or so. That is like the things that shifted reality. Would you like me to share a list of them? Okay, cool. Yeah, Mind Valley is one of them. Yes, please. Mike says yes. Yes, please. Room for improvement, says Roseanne. Perfect. Cool. You can't change your life by reading a book. You can only change your life by changing your thinking. That's it. But these books will help you, because remember what I'm saying. You're planting the seeds. You're planting the seeds. You're tearing yourself away from what is out there on your TV screen, putting yourself into your book. I'm literally doing this. My husband loves his TV. Okay. He loves sports and he comes back from a physical day out there and he sits down on the couch and he loves TV. And I put my earphones on and I read my book. And I'm not watching that. I'm not saying, but that is fine. I don't mind him watching what he loves. He relaxes. It relaxes him. I relax reading my books or watching videos. I like watching Dr. Bruce Lipton, Dr. Joseph Spencer, David Bayer, lots of other people. I make you a list of them. Those were always my coaches, and some of them will always be my coaches, and I change coaches all the time because I need different training, different things, and that's how I go to new coaches, and I constantly improve. It's one of my motivators, is learning. That's the other thing. You can probably find your motivators too. I'll send you something about that. But okay, good. I'll share my list, and then you can start reading them too. Just know that some of these things are quite deep things to read. It takes a little bit of forceful muscle to keep reading it. And it's not for everyone. Okay, it would probably not resonate with you. That's okay. Then go look for someone or something else that does resonate with you. That's why we have algorithms. If you start watching Dr. Bruce Lipton stuff, YouTube is going to send you other things that potentially will resonate with you. That's how cool this is. Good. More questions for today. Mona, I will catch up with you just after this. I've sent you the link. I hope you got it, so we can catch up just after this. Any other questions out there? Mike, I am just about to send you everything. I did get your star profile examples last night. Thank you. I spent a couple of hours processing them. I will send them through to you shortly, and send everything to you shortly so you can start your work. Mike has just joined our community, so welcome. Anyone else with any questions? The group is there. If you do not have direct access to me, if you're not one of the one-on-one candidates who have direct access to me, please feel free to ask anything in there. It's a closed group, so nobody else out there can see anything, and I will not share if you don't want me to share. But if you have questions, please, you have access to me in that group, or you can literally book a call with me if you need to. You've got the links. Let me know if you have any more ideas for content that you would love to learn. As a side note, I have just started learning prospecting on LinkedIn. It's part of my job and my work and my business. And I've come across someone who is actually really, really good at teaching how to use LinkedIn to do that. Now, it's not just for prospecting, it's also, getting your LinkedIn profile to really bring you what you want out there. If you're interested in that, I can share those details with you as well. Let me know if you're interested in that. I went through some of the training and I thought, this will actually resonate with some of my candidates. They will use this, especially if you're going from job to consulting, and many of you guys are looking at that. You're going into doing your own thing or consulting or starting your own business or whatever it is in the future. This is the kind of thing that you need to get into now because it takes time to build those profiles. Okay, cool. Mike says yes. Good, Mike. I'll share that with you as well. Perfect. That was me for today. 45 minutes of talking about mindset. So, yeah, go make your decision to change your thinking and it will change your life. Any more questions as a last thought before I sign off here? No one else? You're welcome to share your screen and unmute you if you want to.